Hey, hello. Welcome back to SIParator for AWS online training. This is session number 14, Ingate SIParator using AWS VPN Service. This is a um, kind of a standalone concept, um, not directly related with the use case that we have been developing through all the sessions. Uh, this is typically a way to connect your, let's say, data center or your office uh, to the VPC using a VPN IPsec, and most likely you may have the PBX hosted on the cloud, but the Ingate would be on site on your on premise on your data center or your office. So let's move on. Okay, we want to show kind of an example where we have a public IP address of 192.0.119 in your main office, uh, and your private network inside your office is going to be 10.10.10.0 dash slash 24. Um, the AWS VPN endpoints we have two IP addresses. We are going to learn that Amazon AWS VPC IPsec connection provides two tunnels. So you're going to have two public IP addresses to connect to. And those are going to be the two IP addresses, the .200 and .210. And the network on the, let's say that the network on the VPC is 10.20.20.024. So this is the IP addressing to understand the layout of what we are going to connect. There are several scenarios where Ingate can be used to connect. For instance, remote offices providing access to centralized PBX hosted in a VPC. That's a typical case. So we want to illustrate in some diagrams examples of how this is used. Um, Let me move to the next slide. So there's two typical situations. One is the what we call the single office. So we're going to have an Ingate in our office. We have the users and everything here, phones, etc. And we're going to have a VPN connection to the VPC, and we're going to have the services like the IPPBX hosted on the VPC. Okay, so as I mentioned before, IPsec VPN implementation on the AWS VPC is based in two tunnels. Okay, and this is made for redundancy. Okay? So our VPN connection uh, on premise will have to consider the connection to two tunnels, and we'll see how to do that. Okay, you can also uh, create if you are using high availability and you have an H18 a cluster, uh, you can have both VPN connections pointing to different pairs of um, routers in the VPC. Okay, to create a VPN connection, you have to go to the dashboard on the VPC service, and you're going to find a section here that is called VPN connections that has three components. The customer gateway, where you are going to define the information of or the data associated to the physical gateway installed on premise on the remote site. The virtual private gateways is the entity that is doing the VPN connection, and the VPN connections is specifically each connection to each site. If you have, you may have one virtual private gateway that is connecting to three different sites, and each site is going to have the VPN connection. So those are the three components. Okay, so here there are some explanation on how the steps in order to implement this. So you log in the AWS Management Console, you go to the VPC, and you can create a customer gateway. So here we are assigning a name to the, we are going to assign a name to the customer gateway. It's going to be routing type is going to be static, and this is the IP address of my office where the Ingate is installed. Okay, remote site. Then you're going to create the new virtual private gateway to attach it to a VPC. So it's this one, the virtual private gateway. So you create the virtual private gateway, and then once you create it, you associate that virtual private gateway to the VPC. Um, then you create a new VPN connection, and this is specifically the path, the connection between the office and the virtual private gateway, or the virtual private gateway and the customer gateway. Okay. So when the connection is created, choose download configuration. Once you have created the connection, you're going to be able to download configuration. It's going to be a button where you can download the configuration, and you're going to get an ASCII file with instructions on how you are going to configure your VPN router in your office in order to connect to Amazon via VPN. In our case, because there is no uh, the the dialog is gonna show you a pull down menu where you can select several different brands of routers and VPN devices for the connection. But Ingate is not yet listed in that table. So you're gonna download the generic vendor option. Okay. So once you download the generic version option, it's an extensive file, it's an ASCII file of about maybe about 8 pages, and there are all the instructions on what you need to configure. So you want to pay attention on some of the data that is included in those documents, and if you follow the following slides instructions, you're going to be able to quickly to identify which ones are which. So uh, in order to do the IPsec configuration, let me open the interface here. I'm going to open a different, going to open my local Ingate. This is the Ingate in our lab in Miami, Florida, connected to Amazon. Okay, so there is a section here, a tag called Virtual Private Network. And on the Virtual Private Network, there is all the IPsec uh, sections here. There is one small couple sections here dedicated to PPTP, which is another protocol that is also supported. But the first section here is IPsec peers. The first thing you need to do is to create your peers. Okay, and in this case, uh, we have created a peer. Let's say this one is my VPC connection via IPsec VPN. This is the public IP address. On the remote side, is the public IP address on the remote side. Well, this is for an Ingate. Hold on, this one. Sorry, this one is the one that we are going to use. Okay, those are the two for with a single peer. We are going to have two different tunnels. Okay, here is where we define the two tunnels. Okay, one is pointing to this IP address. This data here is coming on the configuration file that you downloaded uh, from the dashboard when you created the VPN connection. Those are the two public IP addresses. Okay, so This is the interface that I have facing the internet on my local site, on my Ingate in the lab. Those are parameters that also come in the configuration file, the key lifetime. We are going to enable initiate or the key will be enabled. The encryption is going to be used as ES, AES, uh, and is going to be using a pre-shared secret. So the pre-shared secret is part of the data that came here. Let me just go back here. Okay, you see here the pre-shared key. Okay, you have one. You're gonna have this repeated for each one of the tunnels. This is the tunnel number one. Okay, so here we have the two tunnels. So the next thing to do is now in the IPsec tunnels. Let me better show in the slide. Going back to slide here. Okay. Okay. Here's what I just explained. The next section is to define IPsec tunnels. This is the peer. Um, we are going to use the tunnel, as you can see here, has a local network and a remote network. And then you have to select what type of addressing are you going to use, which is the network that you have on the local side, what type of addressing are you going to use on the remote network, and which type of network, what is the network that you're going to have. If you see this name here, LAN and LAN VPC, is created in the IPsec networks here. Okay, so it's in the same page. You have these two um, elements. If we see it here, okay, you see here you have the IPsec tunnels and the IPsec networks. And the IPsec networks are the networks that define the IP addressing on both ends of the tunnel. My local IP addresses here in the office, the local IP addresses there in the VPC. Okay. Okay. Once you do that, the next step is to move to the IPsec advanced. In advanced, you're going to select the peer that you created for Amazon. You're going to force that traversal, and you're going to enable dead peer detection. And this is the timers that you are going to use. This is part of the information that came on the configuration file. And action restart. The next step is okay. This is just to one suggested networking configuration. In networks and computers, you can create two um, address spaces or address names that have the same IP addressing you have for your local network and your remote network in both ends of the VPN tunnel. And and the reason for creating them is because you have to add, if you are using the SIParator has a firewall in firewall mode, you need to add a couple of rules um, uh, to allow the traffic moving back and forth through the VPN. Okay, so you are going to allow traffic between LAN and VPC, and the two IPsec peer is going to be your IPsec peer, right? It's moving traffic from your LAN on the office to the VPC in Amazon, in AWS. And also you have to enable moving traffic from AWS coming through the peer, the VPN peer to the LAN. Okay, so you can see that automatically it is going to detect that the traffic is going to the VPN or from the VPN. enable the type of service that you are going to allow and the time frame. So that completes how to configure a VPN connection of a remote site with the IPsec services of Amazon. So if you have any questions or comments, just feel free to send emails to trainingquestions@ingate.com. And that's going to be all for this session. I hope to see you in the next one.